Lovely people of the internet, welcome to Bits and Pieces. It's a Lego episode. Again. This time, I'm looking at two different sets of castle Lego. You might recognise some of it you might be a bit bewildered with because I've done something a little bit different. Yes, I haven't put the helmets on in the correct order, aren't I evil? And also I've constructed the castle into a tower, basically. Who'd have thought it, eh? Being creative with Lego in ways that they did not mean you to be creative with, I'm sure. So let's just take a look at what we've got. We've got this little bit here, which is meant to be from a outpost of some sort. It's a little gate that really only people could walk through if they turned sideways. It's a nice enough looking piece, but by itself, I suppose, but really it should be, to make proper use of it, you'd really have to have it attached to something else. You've got little bits and pieces where you can put a pole arm here, you've got grass, weeds and everything, and even a little frog sitting on the top. The overall effect is quite nice. That goes with this piece over here, which is a horse-drawn carriage with prisoners in the back, but no prisoners this time. Came with this fella here. This fella's from the other set. He's just riding shotgun. Well, not quite shotgun. And then you've got the horse, which I've added a little bit from something else just to make it look maybe a bit more fierce. Nice little touches, like it has burning torches on either side. It's got a little treasure chest at the back. And here's how you open the door. You push this little button here, and it pushes everything through, and then you can sort of just open it that way. Quite nice. And then it comes to the actual tower that I've constructed here. Anyone who's got this knows that it's basically two different base units and another bit that you sort of connect between the two, just to sort of create a gateway. I should point out that this little bit here is actually part of the previous set, but overall it makes for a quite nice little set here. Supposed to just thumb that through and it shoots, but it doesn't really always work that well, especially when you're holding it in place. Over here we've got is it a catapult or is it called something else altogether? Who knows? We've got spare little bits here. I'm assuming they're supposed to be spears, but they don't go in particularly well, they just stay in quite tight. We've got these little winding up bits, which are presumably meant to allow you to lower this once it's been sprung. But of course they do nothing because they're non-functional. Just there for show. I've added a little bit here from the actual main castle set, just to give somebody a little extra, another option, a more close range option I suppose. It's all quite nicely solid. It's obviously real Lego, not clone Lego. It's all good high quality stuff. And then of course we've got the wizard who's in charge of the castle. I've given him the whip that goes with that, just to give him something a little bit more fierce. And of course he's got his staff, and I've added little bits on there as well. Let's just move him more into your field of vision. It's got a little bit of a very stiff cape. Looks appropriate really. Goes with his look. The black wizard with the red cape. I'm sure there's more inventive names than that, but I absolutely love his beard. It does add an air of menace. If you don't actually have the beard on, then he already comes with the little bits of beard already on, so he looks quite menacing in his own right anyhow. But he's kidnapped her. I'm assuming she's supposed to be either a queen or a princess, but here's the thing, for for legs to simulate her skirt, her long flowing skirt. She has this, which is just another brick. It's, a shaped brick that I suppose it goes to show some level of inventiveness, but when you actually look at her from any other angle, it just looks kind of silly. The actual tower that I constructed is, like I said, multiple different parts. That's obviously not meant to happen, but there you go. That's one of the flaming candlesticks. I've seen some people make quite good use of these in Skyrim mods of Lego characters. They have the characters holding those to simulate fire attacks from magic users and so on. But there's quite a few nice little pieces on the actual Lego itself. It all goes together quite nicely. They've got this little rat you can see hiding in the shadows here. This bit here at the bottom is supposed to be a wizard's little den. You can see just inside he's got various little bits and pieces, potions that he's brewing and so on. Of course, a treasure chest, but we'll come back to that later. This is supposed to be the bit where at least one person would be sitting in, having a meal and something like that. This is supposed to be the prison area, but since I've put it up on top, it just becomes the top of the tower. And then there's a powerful crystal here. To be honest, yes, it is meant to be on a base unit. It's got the same sort of unit here, there. The way it's all put together, you basically have something else slotting them all together, acting as a sort of anchor for all of them. But it's so long, it sort of pops into the hole itself and sort of stops it from being held firmly in place. And it is actually, even when you have it laid out the way it's supposed to be laid, it looks quite nice, but it looks very basic as well. You can see Lego modifications where people have literally made their own Lego structures, their own Lego buildings and entire towns that they've built up from the ground up, literally building the ground itself out of Lego and built up towns and settings and so on in a way that is much more elaborate than what you see here, and somewhat more satisfying, I bet, as well, because you're literally going with your own creative juices, I suppose, going beyond what the Lego was perhaps originally intended for, or has been limited in its delivery, I suppose. I'm looking for words and I'm not finding them. You can tell it's late when I do this. Inside here you've got a treasure chest. Comes with silver bars and so on. I've put a couple of spare little red bits and pieces that just came with it as well that weren't doing anything. On here you've got the same sort of thing, exactly the same piece. They actually came with spare locks. Okay? Both of them, so they're meant for the doors, of course, but I just put them on the locks just to look more... you can figure out why I put them on there. I put them on here just to make them look more sort of formally locked up. I've actually got a design there for such a thing, but a little extra security never hurt. And they're going to need it given how many men they have attacking them, but on the other hand, this being the Red Army, you'll notice that they have a dragon logo. They have something else that perhaps these fellows just weren't prepared for. A dragon. And it's quite a nice looking sculpt, except that the tail has just came off in my hand as I held it in place. It's perhaps not quite as secure as I thought it was, but it looks quite good. You can see flame, you can see detail. Strangely, the design and the instructions on putting it together only said to put these 3 spikes in, but you get so many spikes that I just decided, since there are extra holes anyhow, to put the extra ones to good use. And there are still spares left, which is somewhat unbelievable, but there you go. This thing can obviously lock in place on a standard Lego board, so if you were to actually put it on something like this that has enough space for it to actually work, then it would look quite terrifying. As I don't have enough space for it to work like that, I'm just going to remove that and that, and just ask the immortal question, do you feel lucky? You're up against a dragon, there's 4 of you, you don't have any magical powers whatsoever, and you're up against a dragon. Do you feel lucky? Do you feel lucky? No, of course you don't. You'd be shitting yourself, it's a dragon. One little amendment I would like to add about the actual castle set itself. So I've noticed in my hand I have this, you might be wondering what it is. If you've ever seen castle footage, okay, any kind of documentary about castles, any kind of movie relating to castles, you'll have seen the staircases went around, usually like this. And this is quite a nice design, it actually looks in place quite nicely when you have something actually holding it down. Okay. You can actually do it the other way as well. There is supposed to be some sort of advantage to having your spiral staircase in a castle going in a certain direction. And it's usually to allow a defender who would be right-handed to have an advantage over another right-handed attacker. I can't for the life of me remember which way it was. You do see some castles that uniformly have it the same way. I can't for the life of me remember which way that is, but there are some exceptions. There are some castles where the spiral works the other way around, and I think in some cases they theorise that the owner of that castle was left-handed. Whether that's actually true or not, we don't know. We have no real way of knowing because it doesn't seem to be recorded in the history books. They're just literally theories. But we'll leave it at that.